problem isn't that you're arguing. It's that you don't have the skill set to navigate it differently yet. Conflict is inevitable. So even the healthiest of couples have conflict. I have conflict with my husband, and we're a very strong couple. We've got connection. We've got great partnership. We love each other. We enjoy spending time together, and we still have conflict. Conflict is inevitable. However, arguing is optional because arguing is a choice. It's an approach. Welcome to the Marriage and Motherhood Podcast. I'm Michelle Perda, mom of three, wife, marriage coach, and host of this show. I help couples move from reactive patterns to intentional partnership using my connected partnership framework so you can feel more connected, supported, and get back to feeling like an us again, all while raising kids. If you ever felt like you and your partner keep having the same arguments on repeat, or like you've slowly become more like roommates than partners, you're not alone, and your marriage is not broken. The truth is, most couples were never taught how to navigate conflict, communicate effectively, or build a strong partnership. And that's exactly what we do here. Now let's dive in. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Marriage and Motherhood Podcast. This episode is going to be part 3 of a mini series that I started back in episode 290. So if you haven't listened to it already, go check out episode 290 and 292. And this mini series is about why you keep having the same arguments and how to actually break that pattern. And so if you find yourself having repetitive arguments and coming to no resolution, feeling like you're just getting more and more disconnected with you and your partner, then definitely go check out the start of this mini series. And then I'll see you back here when you've listened to them. Now, if you've already listened to them, this episode is about the skill that changes everything in conflict. So you're going to learn about the foundational skill that allows conflict to actually become productive, aka have a solution, aka bring you closer together, aka improve the partnership that you two have and actually collaborate. The problem isn't that you're arguing. It's that you don't have the skill set to navigate it differently yet. If you've been here with me for a while, I have this saying, conflict is inevitable. So even the healthiest of couples have conflict. I have conflict with my husband, and we're a very strong couple. We've got connection. We've got great partnership. We love each other. We enjoy spending time together. We are going on dates and we love doing life together. We still flirt. Our intimacy is great. Our emotional and physical intimacy is great, and we still have conflict. So conflict is inevitable. However, arguing is optional because arguing is a choice. It's an approach. And with that said, we were not always this way. Actually, my experience with relationships was quite the opposite because I, like many, maybe including you, was not taught. I didn't know any of this stuff before. And no one teaches you how to do this. No one teaches you the foundational skills to have a healthy, happy, strong marriage. So unless you grew up with a really great example of how that works, you're left kind of just fumbling around trying to figure it out, which is why you keep experiencing the same issues. That was my aha moment, right? Several relationships later, I was like, wait a minute, how come no matter who I'm dating, I keep having the same problems come up? How come I always become this other version of myself? What is happening here? And that's because I didn't have the skills yet. I didn't know how to handle conflict effectively. I didn't know how to be a good listener. I didn't know how to be aware of myself so that I could bring into the conversation what was needed to help move things forward. So I often had unproductive conversations. I often left arguments feeling more disconnected, more misunderstood, more frustrated, more lonely. and just shove it under the rug because I'm like, well, what else are we going to do? I don't know any other way. So let's let time pass. Let's let the dust settle and then act like everything's okay again. That was my go-to. And that's what I often hear from my clients because they also didn't start out with having the skill set until they worked with me, right? So what I want to walk you through actually is part of my peace method. The peace method that I teach my clients is my communication framework. And so we're going to start out with P, pause, right? We've already kind of dabbled in this in the last episode, but I want to teach you just how important this first initial step is because pausing is what allows your regulation. Dysregulation, as we discussed and as I shared in episode 292, is what causes the escalation, right? Your reaction, their counter reaction, and then back and forth you go like it's a tennis match, right? It's like, okay, well, I'm going to dish it to you. No, I'm going to dish it to you. And while you're doing that, nothing's actually getting talked about, right? You're not getting any closer to resolution. And when you have access to feeling regulated, that's when you have access to better communication. That's when you can pull from the communication tools that you're learning from wherever it is that you're learning. That's where you can feel like, oh, I actually have the ability and the capacity to pull on these frameworks that I'm learning and utilize them instead of feeling like I'm going through this outer body experience where I'm angry and the emotions are just running the show and I cannot tap back in, right? I can't do the things that I know I should be doing because logic has left the room. And if you don't pause, you will repeat your default pattern. That is just how we work, right? Because your default pattern is what you've been exercising and strengthening all this time. So that is your current muscle memory. And to fight against that, it's going to be an uphill battle. And in order for you to help change your trajectory, make that 1 degree change to end up somewhere completely different and have a different outcome, is to start off by pausing. Okay? Give yourself that time and space. Now, inside my connected partnership method, this is the first step, learning how to pause so that you can shift how you show up. Now, without pausing, you're going to get more of what you're already experiencing, right? The reactivity, the defensiveness, conflict getting escalated. But with pausing, you're going to be more intentional. You're going to build your awareness of yourself, of your partner, of how you two work together, and create space for collaboration. So I have a couple that I worked with. The wife often was very, very reactive, like very quick-witted, very intelligent woman. Okay. Like I'm talking high achieving type A kind of woman. She's incredible. And when she gets mad, you do not want to be in her way. And before working together, when she got mad, she's the kind of person where you don't want to be the person she's mad at. And through our work together, we worked on pausing. And as she developed that skill through our time together, she and her husband noticed that their arguments shortened. She noticed that her partner softened. She also noticed that they were able to get back to regular life faster and actually come to a resolution in a much more sound, rational, connected way. So instead of yelling at each other, they would be able to notice that things were starting to escalate and pause and get back on track to having a conversation about it, not having an argument about it, not yelling about it, not getting defensive, not someone leaving, but actually talking through it as partners, collaborating, coming up with next steps, coming up with what to do in the future if this comes up again, coming up with, okay, what can we do to prevent this from happening? How can we be more proactive? Truly brainstorming as a team on how to handle things going forward. So here's what I would like you to practice, just to get a taste of what this can change for you. Before responding, I want you to give yourself a solid 10 to 30 seconds before responding. Take a deep breath. Ask a question instead of making a statement. Get curious instead of jumping to conclusions. And this is just one part of how I teach my clients, my couples, to navigate conflict in a completely different way. This is just a start of it. But it is a very important, vital, impactful start. So give it a try. And in that time that you are pausing, if you want to make it even more productive, go grab my conflict to connection guide. If you already have it from listening to the last few episodes of this mini series and you've tried it, this is where the conflict to connection guide comes into play, right? So if you've grabbed it from the last two episodes, amazing. I hope you're utilizing it and starting to retrain your brain on, okay, what can I think about? What can I consider? How can I build more awareness in this situation? And if you've been doing that and you're like, okay, I am ready for the next step, then coaching is that next step. That's where you can get that personalized support for you and your partner on what are the patterns that are going on here? What are the skills that we are needing to learn? How can we take what we have now and improve it and help us grow over time instead of feeling like we're just stuck in this loop of like just an okay marriage, or stuck in this loop where you feel resentful towards each other and you feel more like roommates and co-parents. Okay. If you're wanting to feel like, oh my gosh, we're in us again, and feel like your marriage is very much alive, even in the midst of raising kids, then book a clarity call. The link is in the show notes. Let's chat. Let's figure out what are the patterns that are going on in your marriage and how can we disrupt them and replace them with healthier responses, healthier approaches, and learn the connected partnership framework that can basically carry you through anything that might go on in your marriage and help you know with solid confidence that your marriage is in it for the long haul, that you two have what it takes. You have the skills, you have the commitment, you have the love to basically handle anything as a couple and know that you will come out stronger for it. Okay. The link is in the show notes. Like I said, schedule a call, let's chat and learn how marriage coaching can support you. And of course, come back next week to check out part 4 of the mini series, Why You Keep Having the Same Arguments and How to Actually Break the Pattern. If you know someone that could benefit from listening to this episode, please share this with them. If you love the show, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you listening. Please consider leaving a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That's what helps the show grow and helps more people like you get the support that they need. And I'll catch you back here on the next episode. Bye. If you're listening to this and you're starting to see your own patterns a little more clearly, that's exactly where change begins. And you don't have to figure out the rest on your own. I got you. If you want help taking what you're noticing and actually shifting it in your relationship, check out the show notes for next steps to help things move forward in your marriage, whether that's a guide, a masterclass, or booking a clarity call if you're ready for support. Stay tuned for the next episode. See you there.